this is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hyun Jin Ryu, what's his legacy in Toronto in your mind?
I mean, he's the guy who flipped the switch on the team, right? They lost 95 games in 2019, and we weren't sure what sort of level of rebuild the Blue Jays were looking at. We were confident because Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Kevin Biggio all made their major league debuts in 2019, that this wasn't going to be an Astros or Cubs type rebuild where they were going to be awful for a decade. But Ryu advanced things forward. He signed. He was the most coveted left-handed starter on the free agent market. The Blue Jays got him. They got him because they were willing to add a fourth year, and they got him by giving him the largest free agent contract they had ever given to any player in the history of the franchise. And that showed that they were willing to play with the big boys. And they had not showed that before. Really ever. They had not showed that they were willing to play with the big boys. In 2015 and 16, most of the acquisitions were by trades. They did give Russ Martin the big contract, but they traded for Josh Donaldson. They traded for David Price. They traded for Marco Estrada. And they developed a lot of their own guys. Bautista and Encarnacion, they developed even though they didn't draft them or sign them originally. So this was the first time they showed that they were willing to really spend like they mean it.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Breakaway bets for Bet Regal. We tied last night. 3 of 5 correct picks by Moose and I. Rangers at Devils tonight. Who you like, Rangers or Devils?
Rangers.
Me too. Florida at Carolina.
Carolina.
Florida here. Colorado at Detroit.
Detroit.
Colorado for me. Washington at Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Same. Islanders at Blues.
I'll take Islanders.
I'll take the Blues.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome inside your favorite daytime sports talk show. It's the RP Show. We're coming at you on Game Plus television across all of Canada, national television in 31 U.S. states, including here in Florida. We're on the Key Radio in Atlanta. Where's my bell? Shout out Ryan O'Radio there, Ryan O'Neill, WQEE, The Key. Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube Live. Clark, listen up. I got a question for you in a second. Let's bring in the Moose. He's in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which you're going to be hearing a little bit about coming up here in the warm-up. Is Jock Wilson in hour 1 or 2, Clark? What's the order of our guests? Okay. Right, reversed in our thumbnail that we did, but it's Jim Barker next segment, and then Jock Wilson, Stampeders Radio in hour 2, Darren. So listen, before we go any further, I'm telling you, I'm having a Tiger King kind of day. I told you this before we went to air. People, driving me nuts. Driving me nuts. So I just did a little meditation before the show, just brought myself in. And then I realized in 2 hours, now less than 2 hours, I'll be driving top down in my Jeep in beautiful sunny Florida, and life is great. And we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 2 hours. That's me. What's going on with you today?
I love that you said that because you've often told me, you know what? Just start your day over if you can. Not easier said than done, but you have obviously done it. Look, it's the similar kind of morning, but a good morning here. I mean, it's beautiful outside, going to be in the double digits above zero. And I'm listening to Sam Cooke and some old Motown soul music this morning, having a great morning. Spilled my coffee everywhere, but because it's such a good day, that didn't bother me. And we're happy to be on the air today.
Was one of the songs you were listening to, Mama told me there'd be days like this, there'd be days like this, Mama said.
Such a great song. Is that Van Morrison?
That's a great one. Mama said there'd be days like this. Huh?
Is that Morrison? Van Morrison?
No, it's Sam Cooke. Mama said, look it up. That's what you said you were listening to this. I used to play it when I was a DJ. People! That's what I said. People are driving me nuts. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we'll go from there. I can tell you who's having a worse day. The Toronto Argonauts. And we open on this Football Friday with big story. We say football all week for Fridays. NFL, CFL, United League, if that's your thing. So I've ripped this off 3downnation.com. The Toronto Argonauts and reigning league MVP quarterback Chad Kelly are being sued by a former female strength and conditioning coach for alleged wrongful dismissal and harassment, according to TSN reporter Rick Westhead. She was not identified, the coach, in the report by Westhead in accordance with TSN policy. The lawsuit was filed on Wednesday with the Ontario Superior Court located in Toronto. The former coach alleges Kelly repeatedly harassed her, and the team fired her after she rejected his advances. Again, this is the big story. My phone's been blowing up all morning with football people. I haven't been answering it, by the way. That's not what's been annoying me. And I'm like, just what the Argos needed. And Serena, she doesn't follow the CFL, but she's following this. She's like, I'm just here for the comments. And you see what people are saying on social media, comparing them to the Chicago Blackhawks. They're saying, how's Pinball going to talk his way out of this? The beloved general manager of the Argonauts, the #1 team by many power rankings going into 2024 in the Canadian Football League. The assistant general manager, John Murphy, who is a good friend of mine, he's been named in this suit, supposedly in the article said, allegedly, said to the fired coach, you're opening a can of worms that didn't need to be opened. That's what's in the story. I don't know whether Murph said it or not, but holy smokes. I'll just say this before I get your opinion. I'm sure that, like Rick Westhead, he's got all the stories, man. He's the investigative reporter. He's the W5 of sports, and I'm sure like he's going after all the TSN properties. Hockey Canada, the Argos. I'm sure that somebody's probably thinking, can you go dig up some dirt on the Blue Jays for a change? They're a Sportsnet team. Westhead, man, is a bulldog. And here we are. And not to make light of this, this is the first I heard of it all was this week. I know nothing about it. Not a good story for the Argos or the CFL. What do you think?
No, it's not. And, the legacy, I don't want to say legacy of the team and the league, but the reputation of the league will be in how they handle the situation. Not always necessarily the situation getting to this point, but now how do you handle it? It's tough. Clearly, Rick Westhead, though, has become a safe space for people to spill their story to and tell their story if they want to get it out and have some action done. He's become the guy, the go-to guy. And it's good. We don't want to have these things covered up. It's important to get them out in the open and deal with them. It's tough for the Argos. Chad Kelly has a history of bad behavior, of losing his cool. So that's not a good look. The biggest bad look is and we hate this when you're looking at a victim just saying, oh, you'll be okay. Just suck it up, or just keep it quiet. Just brush it under the rug. Just, make light of the situation and not take it seriously. I think out of the whole article, to me, that's what stood out the most is when you did see it or it did get told to people in higher positions, the sweeping of this under the rug is probably the worst for me.
TSN has the story. 3downnation.com has the story. And now we're getting into it. I told you this is the big story in football, at least in Canada. It's the biggest story today. Cooper Campbell writes in, he is watching in Mississippi, and he says, Chad Kelly's been a major cancer no matter where he goes. Started with his JUCO stint in Mississippi. A lot of teams ran from him out of JUCO, that's junior college. A lot of things have been kept quiet on him. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the good ship Argonaut is sinking. Kelly is not going to last. Right or wrong, trouble will always find him. And thank you, by the way, John Ohm says, sharp-looking golf shirt. Thank you. I got it on sale at Under Armour. I love my Under Armour stuff. I'll say, listen, I've never met Chad Kelly. And to be honest, all the fingers are being pointed at Chad Kelly right now, even though the Argos are the ones being sued. We haven't heard the end of this. We're just starting to hear the start of this. But I'd heard from a lot of people bad things about Chad Kelly. But my thing is, I don't listen to any of it. And if you listen to what somebody says about somebody else, I think you're an idiot. Judge it based on yourself. That's not to say he didn't do this. That's not to say that he didn't or did. But as I put in my commentary this morning, Darren, is innocent until proven guilty a thing anymore? Because times have changed by virtue of the internet. Like if this were to all go away, maybe they settle. There was no criminal charges here. She's suing them. You've Googled Chad Kelly's name from now to the end of eternity. Like, go Google Eric Tillman's name right now and see what comes up. You know, so can Chad Kelly come back? I don't know the answer to that. These are rhetorical questions here right now today.
I got, thoughts on that because that's important too. And, it's important not to take this the wrong way, but 90%, 80% of people who are commenting on the situation on social media haven't read the story. I would say is probably pretty accurate. They just read the tweets or just read the headline. And there are tweets and headlines out there that will say, Argos covered this up and fired her. You know what I mean? And it's details, but her contract wasn't renewed, right? It wasn't fired on the spot. I misunderstand. Doesn't mean that's right or wrong, or it has no opinion on, whether they handled it, but it's important to read the story, understand the details, and, let the situation play out. But on the surface, you're right. It's not a good look for the Toronto Argonauts, and I don't know how they're going to come out of this.
Well, again, the first I heard of this whole story was this morning. I don't know the trainer, the conditioning coach in question, and I've never met Chad Kelly. And I'll say it again. People told me bad things about him, but I didn't listen to that because I remember when I was interviewing with the Calgary Flames to be the voice of the Flames in 2014, Ken King, who I don't like and I think's an idiot. He's not with us anymore, but I think he's an idiot. But he said to me in an interview in his office in Calgary, and there were others there in the room, he goes, a lot of people don't like you, I'm like, I don't care. What's that got to do with it? A lot of people love me. A lot of people don't. I don't care. Why he's trying to make me uncomfortable. You can go by what other people say without forming your own opinion. You're an idiot. And that's where I am on the Chad Kelly thing. No matter what baggage he brought with him across the border when he came to the CFL, I was willing to give him a second chance. But he blew up in the playoffs, so from a professional level as a player, he's had a lot to prove coming back in 2024, right? But the Argos did give him the bag by CFL terms, right? Redid his deal, made him the highest paid player on the team, and then this happens. So, again, when people say, oh, he's got a history, yeah, maybe that's true, but the CFL's always been a second chance league. But if he blew that, and if MLSC or the courts of Ontario or the Argos themselves feel that there's merit to what she says, then I can't support Chad Kelly. Again, I've never met him, but I will always believe people can change and can become different people if they see the light, but maybe he hasn't. And that's about enough that I have to say on that. We can talk about it a little later on in hour two. By the way, Jim Barker coming up in the next segment. This is the Quick Six show topics. In the warm-up, we're going to switch to hockey. Austin Matthews scored again. Max Domi had 2 goals, and the Maple Leafs beat the Vegas Golden Knights 7-3 for their 6th straight win. It was the Golden Knights' 4th straight home loss. Stay with me, Darren, because I want your opinion on something. Nazem Kadri scored the game-winning goal, 3:56 into overtime, to lead the Flames to a 3-2 win over the Boston Bruins. And in the game that I was watching, Sebastian Aho scored with 18.9 seconds left, helping Peter Kochetkov. And the Carolina Hurricanes blanked the Florida Panthers 1-0. Kochetkov stopped 44 shots for the shutout for Carolina, beating the Panthers, denying them a 12th straight win. And I saw Paul Maurice's comments after the game. He was kind of like, did we lose? I didn't feel like we lost. That's Pomo. While all the fans are going nuts and there was a skirmish at the end of the game and blah, 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 he's like, we fired 44 shots on goal. We got goalied. You know what I mean? Like, he was not losing his mind. But the Leafs have won, 6 in a row. The Canucks have dipped. They lost to the Seattle Kraken. I think it was 6-3. How many they lost in a row? 4, 5, the Canucks? These people understand that's going to be the season, right? Is the sky falling from what you're seeing in Canada, TSN coverage, or no?
No, not quite. I haven't seen a lot of panic yet, but it's going to happen in the Vancouver side of things soon, if it's not already. You talk about the ups and downs. They've largely been up and pretty consistent. You know, they haven't, I don't know that they've gone into a real slide like this during the year. And this is the first real sign of trouble. It's not, you know, on the doorstep of the playoffs, so I'm not that concerned. But we'll see how Rick Tocchet handles this and how fast they can come out of this and turn this around. But I don't know that they're panicking yet, but they're getting warmed up, I guess, in the batter's box, ready to start panicking.
You can't really blame their fans for being a little worried, but checking the standings this morning, they are still number 1 overall in the National Hockey League. We're going to spend more time on this and get more audience participation in hour 2. You're welcome to write in and comment now, but I don't have time to get to your comments right now because we have got Jim Barker coming in next. Our poll question is coming up. It has to do with this. For the second year in a row, the Chicago Bears are faced with a decision while holding the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Will they keep or trade Justin Fields? Last year, the Bears dealt the top pick to the Panthers in exchange for a massive return that included wideout DJ Moore and 2 first-round picks. As you know, they took Bryce Young with it, Carolina. They ended up with the worst record in the league, so the Bears have the number 1 pick again. However, this year's situation is a little different, with highly touted prospect Caleb Williams out of USC likely sitting atop every team's draft board. So our poll question is, what should the Bears do with Justin Fields? Not the number 1 pick. What should they do with Justin Fields, who they've had now 3 years with him at quarterback? He didn't finish in the top 20 in passing, but the Bears were 7-10 in the NFC North. Our poll question is brought to you by Key Auto Group, driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. We're kind of running up against time, but I'll ask you this, Darren. What would you? I would keep it. As from the Eric Tillman School of GMing, he's an asset. It's the most important position on the team, the quarterback. Keep him and take Caleb Williams. Have a training camp, you know, either groom Caleb Williams behind Justin Fields, but keep him as an asset. And when the day comes that you think that Caleb Williams is ready to start, then trade Justin Fields. Or trade Caleb Williams down the line. They're assets. It's a game of Monopoly. I saw Tillman do this all the time. Shivers did it too with the Rough Riders. So I'm saying keep him. What are you voting for?
I 1,000% agree with you. Thought we'd be different on this. I really did. I wasn't even thinking this coming in, but I really think that's a smart move. Draft Caleb Williams, keep him on the bench for a year, and see what you have in Justin Fields for a year. Name him your starter. Have another year to see if he grows, and if he doesn't, then you make a move next offseason, and you go with Caleb Williams. But you can't have too many assets. I don't think that's an issue, and clearly nobody's throwing the kitchen sink at the Chicago Bears for the number 1 pick or for Justin Fields, or they would make a move if it was several first-round picks and big assets and, you know, one of those can't-turn-down deals. Those offers aren't there yet.
Something else we'll be dissecting in hour 2 is the headline trumpeted at The Athletic, the subscription-based sports website. Winnipeg Jets ownership sounds the alarm bell on attendance. Quote, "This won't work over the long haul," unquote. If you remember who was tarred and feathered, who said this will not last for the long haul. See the wind's picking up here. And, of course, the Winnipeggers went after me, and now Mark Chipman's saying it, and they're pretty quiet over there in Winnipeg. It's okay, I got big shoulders. I'll say the things that you don't want to hear. The Jets will not be there long-term if this attendance situation remains the same. We'll be addressing that in hour 2. But Jim Barker's the next. Thanks, Moose. Smoke him if you got him. See you in 40 minutes.
You betcha. You bet.
It's a Football Friday. Jim Barker's in next. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down. I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a little thing we call Football Friday. And by the way, folks, you have until 4 p.m. Sask time today to get your Telemiracle 50/50 tickets. That's the cutoff. It's another way to support Telemiracle 48 and also have the chance to win half the jackpot. It's Saskatchewan's charity. It's truly a win-win for Sask residents. Get your tickets before 4 p.m. Sask time today. That's Central. Telemiracle5050.com. Please welcome in Jim Barker now. And Jim, I'm not sure how much of the show you were watching, our football analyst, but we were talking about Justin Fields and the Bears and what they should do with their third-year veteran quarterback since they still own the #1 overall pick in this spring's draft. You've been in that chair. What would you do if you were the GM of the Bears?
At this point, with the number of picks they got last year, in the trade they made with Carolina. I would hold on to it. I would do exactly what you did. You don't know what Caleb Williams is going to be. Is he going to be Patrick Mahomes, or is he going to be, kind of like what Bryce Young did last year? And, where is Justin Fields in his development? Obviously, it's probably a 50-50 split. So I would go along the lines of what you were saying, which is hold on to the pick, take Caleb Williams, let the two of them battle, let him grow at a normal pace, because you're absolutely right. You're not winning Super Bowls without a great quarterback. It's happened in the past that, where Trent Dilfer, I know maybe wasn't a great quarterback and they won with him. But for the most part, you need a top echelon guy. So they're in a position that they can actually take two young top echelon guys, and then their coaches can make a decision. They change your entire offensive staff in the offseason. So they have a brand new coordinator, and he hasn't worked with Justin Fields. So, he's coming out saying, well, yeah, Justin Fields would be great and Caleb Williams would be great. I mean, what's he supposed to say? When you haven't worked with somebody, you just don't know. So I think it's an interesting situation. I'm 100% on board with what you said. I would hold on to the pick. I think they got enough picks last year for the pick that they traded. They still end up with Justin Fields, and now they can go out and get truly the guy who is believed to be the top quarterback prospect in the draft. I think it's foolish to trade that position, in my opinion.
Viewer John Glover writes in and he says the Green Bay Packers kept their asset, Jordan Love, and it seems to be working out for them. So there you go. By the way, it looks like a nice blue or even lilac shirt that you have on. It matches mine quite well. Can you give us a little inside Hollywood stuff on the TSN panel? Do you guys talk with each other? Except for the day you all wore black to honor Chris Jones. Do you... You guys talk about what you're going to wear on there on a daily basis?
No, we don't talk about what we're going to wear. There's kind of a challenge. Like Milt Stegall has done more for my wardrobe than any human being on the face of the earth. I mean, just trying to somewhat keep up with Milt, has given me a little bit of style and given me a little bit of, I never wore suits. I've been a coach my whole life. This is a whole new world for me. So in the last couple of years, those guys, Davis also, they're just sharp dressers. Matt, all of them, they know how to dress. And so it's been a good thing for me, who has been a traditionally not great dresser. But so I try to pick things out that work with, and they have people at TSN that actually help you, if you can believe that, with that stuff. So we get a lot of help to make us look decent.
Clothes make the man, and I think you're doing just great on there. Let me ask you, what's on your mind this week? I don't want to miss the mark. What's blowing up your phone? What are you following in football this week?
Well, last night's news, obviously, that kind of has taken a precedent over Tim White signing. We had talked about it, last week, about that he would probably end up back in Hamilton, which he did, for not as much money as I thought he might get. But that's certainly not a slam on Tim White. That's it's when you do a great deal, you want management to feel, we paid him a little too much. And you want the player to think, I didn't quite get what I wanted. That's a good deal. And I think that's what happened here. So, good on Tim White for re-signing with Hamilton. That was kind of our story. But last night, everything kind of changed with the news that came out of, what Rick West had reported. So that kind of has taken everything over.
Well, I should have texted you to see if you wanted to talk about it or not, because you work for that team, and I'm assuming you know everybody involved. So I didn't know how comfortable or uncomfortable you would be with discussing this.
Well, I appreciate that, Rod. I really do. And I'm not going to go into detail. I think too often what happens is people speculate on this what happened and this happened. I mean, let's look at what Rick West had basically took a lawsuit that was filed publicly and took things directly off of that, got a response from MLSE, and that's what's in his story. So it's not like this was an investigative piece where, the coach says this, the player says this, the management person, there was none of that happened. This was the coach says this was the what happened to her and her view of the wrongful termination, and that will now go to arbitration or something along those lines. So to speculate, and I've been seeing a lot of things online, to speculate that this happened or that happened or he did this or she did that or is all just that speculation. And I just think it's wrong. I think it blows things into, the more people talk about it, the more they start to believe that's the truth or this is we don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know all the people involved. I have my opinions on it, but that's not something that should be shared because it shouldn't bias anything. Right now, you have an employee who filed a wrongful termination. And what does that mean? That's she feels like she wasn't treated in the workplace properly, and she lays out her grounds. Now it's up to, again, an arbitrator who will look at it, and it's kind of strange that it got this far, that it got to filing the suit and that kind of thing. I think the whole wrongful termination just happened on January 29th. I think it said in Rick's reporting of the lawsuit. So, and he's an outstanding reporter who is never going to put himself or TSN or any in harm's way in terms of saying or things that are speculation and not facts. So everything you read in there, again, is what the coach says fact. That's to be determined. Is what people are speculating. That's speculation. Until I hear from the people that are named in this thing, you can't really discuss it. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about, Rod. So I hate to dance around it, but it's a really serious matter. And especially in light of things going on in the world, things going on in the CFL with the movement toward women in football and that type of thing.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about that is be careful for those to say who knew what, because if you ever read Jim Hobson's book, The President of the Rough Riders, shocking the things he didn't know as the president. So many things were going on that nobody brought to him. So to name pinball the president or the president of the MLSC or whatever, how do they know that who knew what? Anyways, thank you, John Ohm in Winnipeg, for getting us out of this discussion. John has a question. And he says, Coach Barker, do you think Mason Fine has the it factor? Rider fans are very confused on the choice they made to keep him over Jake Dolegala. Your thoughts?
Oh man, it's a great question, because I thought he did. When I saw him at North Texas, I thought he's really got what it takes to be successful here. So much of a quarterback's success is not only what he does and what he has inside of him, but also the coaches that he's around, the system that he's in, the players that are around him, the injury situation. There's a lot of things that go into that. I'm not going to bail out on Mason Fine. And again, Jeremy O'Day was the one guy who has stayed there, has watched him through his development, and made the decision to re-sign him over re-signing Jake Dolegala. So again, they know more than anybody. And I will cede to them and say that, again, they believe Mason Fine has more of that than Jake Dolegala. And again, I thought he had it when I saw him, when I scouted him. I thought he was a great guy for our league. I really did. I don't know that that's not true, because he's been in tough situations, new coordinator every year. Last year, Kelly Jeffrey, it was his first year as a coordinator. So, there's a lot of things that go into it. They had offensive line injuries. I felt like when they lost Philip Blake, it kind of threw a wrench into their whole plan up front. How much does that play into, the whole Mason Fine thing? It's hard to know. So this is going to be obviously a huge year for Mason Fine to prove that he does have the schnapps and the internal things you need that the guy who wrote in is talking about.
Well, I got one for you. Vernon Adams just signed an extension through 2026, and I love VA. And my question to you is, how long do you wait as a coach or a GM to let a guy prove himself? Because VA's been around forever. And he had his chance in Montreal, and I guess they deemed they didn't want to keep him there. Nathan Rourke goes to Jacksonville, and now VA's on the center stage, and he delivered. Got them that home playoff game. How long do you wait, Jim, as a GM on a guy before you move on?
I don't know that
he doesn't have it, or he'll never be the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that there's a length of time. I think you just know. You know whether this is a guy who's going to be able to do it or not. And you get the feeling from the locker room, and you get the feeling from everywhere. And VA obviously went in there, and he put that team on his shoulders. And, again, when he went in there, they brought Dane Evans in. It was VA's team all the way. And again, in the position they're in, you have to say, okay, who's out there? If we were not going to go with VA, if VA is not going to be our guy, do we have a better option? And at this point, that they feel like he is their best option to win a Grey Cup. Do I think VA can win a Grey Cup? I absolutely do. I've seen him where he's been as good as any player in the league. Can he sustain that? Can he get the people around him that he needs? I think he's had a great receiving core. I'm not sure their running game has been what it needs to be to take some of the pressure off of him. I think that's going to be an important thing for them. They go out and get William Stan back. That's going to help VA. That's going to take some of the heat off in terms of pass rush and things like that. So, again, I think it's a decision, a good decision by the BC Lions. They're saying VA's our guy. He's the one who's going to take us to the promised land. And we got to the final game. This year we're going to get over the hump, and we'll beat Winnipeg or whoever happens to be there and get there. That's their determination. And again, that's what you have to do. We talked about this last week, Rod, when we were talking about quarterbacks, and we were talking about the greatest quarterbacks and that kind of thing. It's the same thing at this thing is he the guy? If he can't take you to you were talking about, I can't even remember who it was, but I didn't think he was a guy who could take you to a Super Bowl. And if he's not a guy who can take you to the Super Bowl, you need to move forward. If he's not a guy who can take you to a Grey Cup and there's a potential better option, then you do it. I don't believe there is out there right now than VA. I think VA's got a confidence to him. He's in an organization. He knows Jordan Maximic, who knows him. I just think it's a great situation for the both of them, and this is a huge year for them. They do need to take the next step. They do need to, which, again, they were close last year. You remember, they beat BC badly, and it went into that third rubber game as to between BC and Winnipeg as to who was going to win the division. So they're close. They need to get it up over the hump.
Yeah. We're over time, but I'm probably going to ask you every week about your daughter, Holly, now. What was her rap on Super Bowl? The circus has left town. They picked up all the pieces. What was her rap on Super Bowl, the pit boss at the Bellagio? She said, I've never seen so many celebrities in my life. She said, you hear about the Super Bowl? I mean, she's heard about it her whole life. Obviously, we've never gone to one. She's been to Grey Cups, but she said, I've never in my life, in 1 week, really 4-day period, because she worked the entire Thursday to Sunday, I have never seen that many celebrities in my life. She said, Dad, it's as big as they say. And so it was an exciting experience for her. And obviously, I mean, you went this year and saw it's almost unreal, I can imagine. I can see why they want to have it there every year or maybe every second year. I can see that, why they would say that. All right, Jim, you have a great weekend. We'll chat with you in a week. We'll see you next week. Our football analyst, 5-time Grey Cup champion, Jim Barker checking in on this Football Friday. We got a sports update coming up, and then all your questions and comments next. Moose returns in hour 2 along with Jock Wilson. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to a Football Friday. I hope you're ready for the weekend, just like I am. But I always enjoy those chats with Jim Barker. It just lifts your spirits up. And I love when our sponsors intersect with the sports update, and that's what we have here. I'll tell you, we got 18 minutes left in hour one. So if you want to get your comment read or even a question to me, fire them my way now. 902-518-3033, the Sober Carpenter text line. Sober Carpenter. Ask for it by name at your local and favorite beer, wine, and spirit store. We got it here in South Florida, Total Wine and Spirits. It's better than the real stuff. Not as good, better than. And that reminds me, by the way, it's just me, so I can tell story time, right? I go to Super Bowl, and I am as sober as a judge. 9 hours of sleep, for God's sakes, every night, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And Jim Barker's daughter is a pit boss at the Bellagio. So Jim goes, you got to go meet Holly. She'll hook you up, whatever you need. So I go there, and she's like, what can I get you? You're in Vegas? I'm supposed to treat you right. I said, well, I don't drink, I don't gamble, and I don't carouse. Ta-da! And she looked at me like, what the hell are you doing here? Am I supposed to? Because I used to go to these things and be an animal. That got me in so much trouble. So now, is there a halfway? I don't even know what that is. It's going to be in park or 100 mile an hour. I'll take the park. When I said the sponsors mesh with the sports update, the playoff field is set for the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Alberta's Selena Sturmey, six-time champion Jennifer Jones of Manitoba, while defending champion Carrie Anderson takes on undefeated Rachel Homan of Ontario. In the afternoon draw, Manitoba's Caitlin Laws and Kate Cameron round out the rest of the six playoff teams. Now they're sold out at Winsport Arena, but you can be at the Briar, the Montana's Briar in Regina with the RP show. You can get your tickets now at curling.ca/tickets, and single draw tickets are now on sale. They range in price, but all kids' tickets for every draw are the same, $9.99, because Curling Canada wants to make it affordable for families. Again, it's curling.ca/tickets, and we will see you there. Elsewhere, Scotty Barnes had 18 points and 12 rebounds. Gary Trent Jr., my favorite Raptor, scored 25. And the Raptors beat the Brooklyn Nets 121-93 Thursday night. It was Toronto's first victory in 12 games against Atlantic Division opponents all season. Raps are in Atlanta tonight. Are you going, Ryan O'Radio? Toronto sits 4.5 games back of Atlanta for the final play-in spot in the East. This sports update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. When we talk hockey, it's for Common Crown. Not a lot of that today, but Common Crown turns your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And also for Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, the movie Argyle, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Bryan Cranston, and John Cena. Here's the plot. An introverted spy novelist is drawn into the activities of a sinister underground syndicate. I think I'm going to go to that this afternoon. Argyle in Landmarks. Yeah, why not, right? Landmark Cinemas now. Man, is this hour ever going by fast. And hey. We need to be civil about this Argos situation, okay? If we're going to have a talk here on daytime television, we call ourselves The View for sports fans. Although I haven't watched The View for a long time because I think we're up against them at the same time. But do you ever see them screaming and yelling at each other? I don't think you do. Call me Whoopi Goldberg, and Darren is the Joy Behar, and I guess Clark's the Elizabeth Hasselbeck of the whole thing. We're trying to have a civilized conversation about this lawsuit against the Toronto Argonauts for wrongful dismissal by the female athletic conditioning coach who says she was sexually harassed by Chad Kelly, the Argos quarterback, and nothing was done about it, and then she was fired. Darren, off the start of the show, said, tough for the Argos. And to be honest, I said the same. Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and says, tough for the Argos, dupes? How about the young lady who got fired because she was sick of Chad Kelly hitting on her? Don't get mad. It's just a comment by Darren. We, again, innocent until proven guilty. Is that not a thing? I don't know if we can have not just us, but anybody can have an adult conversation about this without getting upset. I don't know. Kirk in Toronto, already moving past Chad Kelly. Kirk in Toronto writes that he watches on Game Plus, and he says, "Hi, Rod. That's why I said the Argos need to go after Drew Brown or Chris Strevler when they were available. I'm no football pundit, but I said to go down that road." Well, maybe, Kirk, put your resume in. There might be a few lost jobs over this. We may not be done yet. Jim in Balgony writes in and says, allegedly and speculation are disgusting words that are used to hurt people. If proven, then it needs to be dealt with. That's the thing. So much of this is not known. You saw the comments supposedly made by John Murphy, their assistant GM, and I don't mind saying Murph is a friend of mine. I've also said Mike Babcock is a friend of mine. Neither one of them have done anything to me. They've actually been exemplary to me. And I'm wondering, do you have proof of what John Murphy said? But you know what? I'm pretty sure they'll be investigating that. Now, regarding the attendance at Jets games, David number 1, because we have a few. David number 1 in Winnipeg writes in, and if you probably weren't watching earlier, the ownership, Mark Chipman, came out and said this attendance issue, I can't remember the exact term, but basically this will not work long term. We need to get our season tickets up. We need to fill the barn, which I told you was going to happen, but everybody was mad at me in Winnipeg. It's okay. I don't care. It's okay. Nobody will ever come back and say, we're sorry. You were right, Rod. I'm also prepared for that. It's simple math. I've never met a rich person that doesn't put themselves first. So if you think that they're going to sit there and write checks for a losing product, that's not going to happen. That was never going to happen. You all think that it was. It wasn't. Let me say it again. I've never met a rich person that doesn't put themselves first. We'll get more into this in hour 2 with Darren, but David number 1 writes in and he says the problem in Winnipeg is not the on-ice product. It's the public perceived attitude of ownership. Winnipeg is a blue-collar city. True North acts like we should feel privileged to have an NHL team. I would be saddened if the Jets left again. True North needs to work on an image rebuild and put the fans first. I'm more than okay with being the conduit or the gatekeeper of your comments coming out of Winnipeg. But not only do they act like they think you should feel privileged to have a team, that is what they think. We're going to take a break. I'll continue with more of that when we return, okay? Jock Wilson in hour 2, and the Moose will be back as well. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hey, everybody. Blame Clark, not me. We only have 2 minutes. I know that it's me. I'm joking, Clark. We went too long with Jim Barker, but that's okay. It was worth it. I could have continued the chat about the Winnipeg Jets attendance. I just knew that we had to break at some point. We'll carry this. It has to do with all of sports, not just Winnipeg Jets fans. But again, the ownership of the Jets has sounded the alarms. They said this will not work over the long haul, their current attendance issue. And I see somebody wrote into our Facebook page and said that they said, lose the USA attitude you developed the last couple of years. I don't know if this is a Winnipeg person or what. It's got nothing to do with an American attitude. But again, it's okay. I do interventions for a living where we go into a room and get an alcoholic drug addict to go to rehab. I'm the guy that does that. I'm used to being yelled at by better. So don't come at me. But you would talk. There's going to be a lot of hurtful things said about me for just saying the truth. That Winnipeg, the Jets will not be there long term. It's the guy said it. They're a blue collar town. I get that. You just can't afford the tickets. Period. It's not their fault. Reg in Winnipeg says, I didn't disagree with you, Rod. I love you, man. Thank you, Reg Dunlop. I love you, too. Regarding the issues, the image of Jets ownership, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, you think Flames fans love the ownership? Overall, you shouldn't really care who the owner is, period. Reg goes on to say, so Mark Chipman's gotten the word from Mr. $45 billion himself, David Thompson, I don't want to lose any money on this hockey team? Yeah, okay. You didn't hear what I said. I've never met a rich person that doesn't put themselves first. They won't want to lose money. We'll kick this around after the break in hour 2 and a lot of football talk. And Argos with the Moose right after this.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Breakaway bets for Bet Regal. We tied last night. 3 of 5 correct picks by Moose and I. Rangers at Devils tonight. Who you like, Rangers or Devils?
Rangers.
Me too. Florida at Carolina.
Carolina.
Florida here. Colorado at Detroit.
Detroit.
Colorado for me. Washington at Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Same. Islanders at Blues.
I'll take Islanders.
I'll take the Blues.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. I want to thank you because an hour ago when we went to air, I was kind of annoyed by people. And you just completely turned my frown upside down. I appreciate that. Let's bring the Moose in now, Moose. I hope you're wearing a helmet, Moose, because people are fidgety and punchy today. Have you been watching the show since you were on 40 minutes ago?
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, right? You got to dodge the shrapnel coming your way. Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, a little your way, too. But if you missed that, nothing that you can't handle, Darren, but people are, they're punchy, and I get it. Some are Argos fans, some that are the champion for the victim of this lawsuit against the CFL's team in Toronto, which we'll get to. Jim Barker brought that up last hour when he was with us. And then the Jets fans, I mean, I'll say it again. I think that's why Winnipeg is not only our number 2 city for viewership, but for a time last summer was our number 1 city for viewership because they are blue collar and they're my kind of town. They don't like to hear that their team, the Winnipeg Jets, may leave. And they get upset when that's brought up. But Mark Chipman, the owner, in an article published to The Athletic this morning, said the economics, this isn't going to work long-term in Winnipeg. And people are getting upset about that, coming at me. And more so, it's not even necessarily Winnipeggers. There's people on our Facebook page that are coming at me and saying rude things. And the old me, I'm talking like a decade or more ago, would have come right back at him, had that online fight, and I'm not that guy. Just ignore it. As they say, and I've told you this before, the average Howard Stern fan listens an hour a day to the Howard Stern show. The average fan. The average hater of Howard Stern listens 3 hours a day. Darren, they can't get enough of us. The haters, so there's all of that. Now, is there anything that you've been thinking about that you want to get off your chest before I take this in a different direction here for a little bit of hour two?
No, nothing I need to jump out. I'm sure stuff will come up during the second hour when we get to it. But no, go where you want to go.
Okay, well, number one, I know we have a lot of listeners and new viewers here in hour two, so I'm just going to recap what the big story of the day is, football-wise, because it is a Football Friday, and we are on Canadian national television. I've ripped this off of 3downnation.com. The Toronto Argonauts and reigning league MVP quarterback Chad Kelly are being sued by a former female strength and conditioning coach for alleged wrongful dismissal and harassment. According to TSN reporter Rick Westhead, she was not identified in the report. The lawsuit was filed on Wednesday with the Ontario Superior Court located in Toronto. The former coach alleges Kelly repeatedly harassed her and the team fired her after she rejected his advances. I'm chuckling a little bit with some football people here that Jim Barker said he didn't want to talk about it last hour, then talked about it for 5 minutes and really didn't say anything. But that is the big story. And then the other one is the Winnipeg Jets ownership with what they said. I have it highlighted here. The quote is, "This won't work over the long haul." It's that their season tickets are down 27% over the last 3 years. And I invited text messages. Let's take it in a more positive for a second. Brian is watching in Beausejour, Manitoba, and he writes it on the Sober Carpenter text line at 902-518-3033, and he says, "I hear you're going cruising with Goldie later. How's that beautiful beast running? Great show, as always." He's talking about my 2004 Jeep Wrangler. Can I tell you something about Jeeps? I've long been a Jeep guy. Here's the thing. You can drive a really cool top-down vehicle for a very affordable price. Jeeps. And although I get in a conversation because it's Boca, right? You've been here. A lot of rich, snooty people. There's a lot of Bentleys, a lot of Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Porsches, you name it. And they're like, well, that Jeep of yours, it's not very luxurious. It's not very comfortable. I said, no, it ain't. But damn, it looks cool. So I'm going to take it down A1A today. Top down. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. I think it's supposed to get 29 degrees Celsius. So while people were annoying me this morning, I did a little meditation before we went to air. It works. All you do is count your breaths. It's not that hard to do, and it's not that crazy. It's not that woo-woo, as Serena says. Put me in a good mood, as did you, Darren. And the haters, they ain't going to break me down. Not today. And Brian, we were talking about the Super Bowl with Jim Barker. I wish you were with me, Darren. I know you thought about coming. I mean, maybe you'll come to New Orleans next year, and New Orleans will be fun, but it won't be as good, I don't think, as Vegas.
I know.
Because it's Vegas. And Holly Barker, Jim's daughter, I met her. He said, go meet my daughter. She'll hook you up. Whatever you need. I didn't need anything. That was the problem. I got a buddy. Let's call him Shay. You know him. He goes, what I like about Vegas is I can get whatever I want anytime I want. And I'm like, so can I. I can get anything that I need at a 7-Eleven. Anything I need, I can get at a 7-Eleven in Regina. Why do you got to be in Vegas for that? I don't understand. Anyways, Brian in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, could a Grey Cup ever be hosted by Las Vegas? You know that I've been saying that for at least a decade. Don't make me go digging into lockers to find it at rodpedersen.com. I've been saying that for a decade. They should have a Grey Cup played in Vegas. The CFL has a tremendous footprint there. They used to have a team there. And It does not have a great footprint here in Florida. Why would it? The CFL does not. Even though the football people know what it is, John Q. Public does not. Vegas, they do. So I've been staying there for a decade. But what do you think about Brian's idea? Let's say it's his idea. A Grey Cup in Vegas.
I think it would be really cool. I would love it. You know, the problem is with the world that we're in now, everything is so numbers and stats driven. And everything is so, you know, like I think about the World Juniors. And now at the World Juniors, it's very much you have to guarantee $10 to $15 million of revenue and all this economic spinoff and A, B, C, D, E, and this many ticket sales. So the World Juniors will never go to London, Ontario, or Red Deer, Alberta, or any of these cool places that the, you know, World Juniors could have a really great vibe in. And one of the issues is you go to Vegas and it does really well, and a bunch of betting money comes in, and maybe financially it goes really well. Then how do you take it out of Vegas and move it back to Edmonton or Vancouver or Hamilton or Montreal or wherever? But I think it would be cool as a one-off. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if there was a year that, for whatever reason, they couldn't afford to put it on, and I'm sorry to say it, but that has happened, or they've become very close to not being able to put it on, put it in Vegas and try it. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in on the streams, and he says, having been in Las Vegas for a week on one occasion and a day on another, I can see why people like it and why people hate it. I say let's give it a shot. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in, he says, Rod, if you come to Winnipeg sometime with Goldie and have issues, I service a business that specializes in Jeep repairs and only Jeeps. Gotcha, David. I will put that in my phone. I don't envision a day that will happen. Darren knows this because he's rolled with me for a while. Goldie ain't never going to drive from South Florida to Winnipeg. What I'll do is I'll come to Winnipeg and just buy a Jeep and then just leave it there. That's what I do. Yeah. And then actually it works out great because then my friends drive it around in that town. You just did a couple weeks ago when you were back in Sask, right? Rather than drive it back and forth, I'll just buy the vehicle and then I'll just leave it there. The Santa Claus of Jeeps. Jack in Calgary, or Vulcan, Alberta, writes in. He says, I'm moving to Florida. LOL. Well, that's what I said, and it works great. Jeff in Yorkton writes in, and he says, would the CFL be the host then? Right now, each team gets the profits from hosting. Don't look at it this is pie in the sky stuff. I mean, if you want to split it 9 ways, that would work too. Colin in Ottawa says it's a stupid idea on many fronts to have a Grey Cup in Vegas, but one reason it can't work is a Canadian football field can't fit into Allegiant Stadium. Well, number one, I never once thought that we would play it in Allegiant Stadium. I didn't. I was thinking where we played it the last time, Sam Boyd Stadium, the home of UNLV. Leave the thinking to us, Colin, and you just enjoy yourself and watch, okay? Rick in Edmonton writes in, he says, I'd go to the Grey Cup in Vegas if they have Mr. Pibb available, like they have at Landmark Cinemas. I love Mr. Pibb. Yes, it's a wonderful soda. And just so you know, Darren, just to bring it, so we've had some fun talking about the Grey Cup in Vegas. I've been saying it. It'll be another thing where I think I'll be like Winston Churchill, Mark Twain, these legendary thinkers. I'll be quoted after I die, right? Will you make sure that happens, Darren? Will you make sure that those quotes are properly attributed to me? You see the winds getting up here. I'm going to get smacked in the head here in a second. The Grey Cup coming to Vegas. Let's make it happen. But just on the ticket front for a second. I know the Winnipeg people get upset. And there were comments coming in here about how the Bombers haven't been selling out for quite some time. I thought they were. I thought they had a long streak of sellouts last year in Winnipeg. But I just want to, let me hit it home for a second. Here, South Florida, 10.5 million people. I've got a lot of friends now that are season ticket holders. Shoot, we do a podcast on the Panthers and the Lightning that's very popular. So I've gotten to know the market. I've gotten to know the people. A letter went out this week. If I have this right from what I got from my friends, playoff ticket costs have doubled. And I think you remember me saying it was $1,200 a ticket last year. In the Stanley Cup Finals, it escalates per round, but $1,200 a ticket in the Stanley Cup Final, and they were selling it out. Now it's gone to $2,400. So you could imagine the belly aching and griping from the season ticket holders, which I don't blame them. But at some point, they're going to have to do what Winnipeggers are doing, and certain people in certain markets, they're just not going anymore. We are long past the point. I thought it would have happened ages ago that people aren't paying these ticket prices, but they are. And I wonder at what point does it stop?
It's really difficult because you keep growing and the cap keeps growing and the money has got to keep growing. But what hasn't, as we say, inflation keeps going up and the wages aren't matching it. And expenses are going up, and Canadians are really hit really tough. That's, what did you mention? The number 2 most talked about thing was the price, cost of living, behind college football. That was the point of the topic, but cost of living. And it makes it really difficult for sports teams. So you're going to have to, rethink this and find a way to creatively keep the Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg. You got to get creative. You can't just keep asking for more, because the fans are telling you by the attendance that they're tapped out. They're tapped out. So how are you going to creatively keep the team there?
And yet, when you say be creative, even that will only work for so long when the ticket prices keep escalating. I saw a story the other day. I just saw the headline. As you say, we're all headline readers these days, and I'm one. Who's got time to read all the damn things? So I read the headlines, and one was that there was a rally in Montreal by soccer fans protesting the cost of tickets for when Inter Miami comes to town. I'm surprised they don't have these protests in every city. The ticket prices quintupled last year for games against Inter Miami, all because of Lionel Messi. But I saw a video the other night. My friend Thad sent it to me. I put it on our Instagram story. The place was sold out here. Drive Pink Stadium, Inter Miami. So people keep going. And just so you know, because I don't want to be barred by the teams, I'm not advocating that you don't buy tickets. I guess my point is, if you don't buy tickets, somebody's going to buy your seat. That's probably going to happen. And the thing is here, I do get to go to the games for free. So I'm very grateful for that. But I made the decision that if that were to not happen, if for whatever reason I wasn't, I would buy a season ticket for the Panthers. It would not be lower bowl. It would be upper bowl. I've already priced it out. I would pay the $888 for the season pass, which includes parking. It works out to like $30 a game. I love hockey so much, I would go. But that's here. That's not Winnipeg. So when you have to make a choice between feeding your family or going to a hockey game, in no way, shape, or form are we saying that the Winnipeg people or anybody that can't afford tickets are doing the wrong thing. I'm on their side. But I'm also saying the team won't stay if they're not filling the barn. You see the connection, Darren. You see it, right?
Yeah. It's a connection and it's a conundrum all in the same breath. So, we'll keep going in the circle, but it is a problem, but also one that we're sympathetic to.
For sure. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, I believe the Bombers sold out 4 in a row, maybe 5 last year. Summertime's hard to get to a packed house because everyone's at the cottage. This season's schedule, we might have lower numbers on Saturday games. Please, I am not, on February 23rd, willing to have the conversation. We're going to go to the lake. We're not, don't have your games on the Saturday. We're going to be at the lake. Okay, we're going to play Thursday night games. Don't play Thursday night games. It's too hard to get downtown. When the hell do you want us to play? When would that work for you? Let us know and get back to us. Either you want to go or you don't want to go. Quit finding excuses not to go. And if you can't afford to go, that's fine too. Just say it. Which is what they're saying. By the way, they're finally saying it. We can't afford this in Winnipeg. How many other cities are going to follow suit? We're going to play Bet Regal breakaway bets coming back. I haven't forgot, Darren. Jock Wilson's on the way. And we got to get back to this Argos Chad Kelly situation, although not only have we not heard the end of it, we've just heard the start of it. A female former assistant coach of the Argos is suing the team for wrongful dismissal, claiming sexual harassment by the quarterback, Chad Kelly. Not good. It is a Football Friday. We're on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
A truly national and international show, the RP Show, because we got comments coming in from all across Canada and America. We're live on Game Plus TV. By the way, you got till 4 p.m. Sask time today. We got a lot of Sask residents watching. It is our #1 region for viewership. And if you people in Saskatchewan have not purchased your Telemiracle 50/50 tickets yet, you only have until 4 p.m. Sask time today. Please, I don't ask you to do a lot at all. I don't ask you to do anything other than this. Go buy Telemiracle5050.com tickets and also contribute to our show contribution page. That would help as well. Clark, if you're able to put that up in the YouTube chat, that would be great. Let's please bring the Moose in. I got to tell a story in a second. Just grateful for everybody that I was annoyed this morning by people. And these people, our viewers, have completely snapped me out of it, Darren. And you as well. So I appreciate that. Andrew in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, from checking the schedule, there was 4 sellouts in a row since the Banjo Bowl last year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, but their tickets are far less expensive than the Jets. Bear with me. Brent in Wellington, Florida, watching. He says, 3 years ago, you could buy a $40 seat in any section for a Florida Panthers game. Fast forward to today, and the product on the ice, they can basically name their price and people will pay. That's the point. They're selling out every game. So if you can't afford it, don't go. It's kind of on you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. And it's tough, and a lot of people can't afford to go. But, it's a supply and demand issue. If you're selling out, prices, and there's people waiting in line, prices are going to keep going up. And we've seen that happen in Toronto, where the everyday regular fan, the tickets are priced out. They can't go. So they watch on TV, they watch in the bars and pubs, they watch out front of Scotiabank Arena, but they can't go to the games because you're easily over $100 just to get in the door. And when that happens, that's where they're going to go. But it's an issue of when the seats are empty, prices need to come down and match the line so that eventually you start filling things up.
And we'll see if they do or not. When I was a kid, we went to one NHL regular season game to the entire decade of the 80s when my dad took us to watch the Oilers and the Blues in Edmonton. That's it. And now you see kids at all the games. So I don't know. As my spiritual advisor down here in Florida says to me, Rod, there's more than one way to do things. Remember when I brought that up the other day? She's like, get that through your head. Not everybody needs to be raised the way you do or were, and nobody has to come up in the business the way you did. Not everybody does. And I'm like, would you mind telling my dad that? Because there was one way to do things, his way. So we did it. And dagnabbit, it worked. Anyways, interesting point here. It is a football Friday, but we're kind of all over the place today, and to be honest, I'm enjoying that. And we do try to keep this show up and fun. This lawsuit against the Argos, while serious, not a lot of fun. And I think we've talked about it enough. Scott in Moose Jaw writes in, and he says, pink is your color, Roddy. Well, I would say it's more of a magenta than a pink, but Mark in Yorkton writes in, home of Key Auto Group. He says, hey, Rod, happy Friday. Just sharing an observation. I want everybody's take on this. He says, I took my family to the Regina Pats game on Monday's Family Day. We walked through the team store prior to puck drop, and to my surprise, not one Connor Bedard item. Couldn't the team still capitalize on him being formally part of the organization? A shirt, a jersey, a bobblehead? I can't help but think they'd sell items with his name attached to it. You want to hear a trip? We have friends here in Florida. They were Serena's friends first, but now they're mine. They've been trying to get a hold of Bedard Pats jerseys. They don't make them. And they might not be able to, because a couple of years ago, kind of sitting here wondering why I did this, but I did it. I got 2 Bedard jerseys that I bought, and I had signed by the team, and it wasn't like it used to be. Obviously, this is a new viewer, because he wouldn't know the story. You do. I dropped the jerseys off in the dressing room. I said, can you have Bedard sign it? Like a week later, I said to the team, where's the jerseys? We had to clear it through the agent, and we had to get a letter, and we had to get authenticity, and we had to get this. I said, what? Just tell them they're for Rod. Not like it used to be. Right? Which inevitably, I got the jerseys, and I gave them to my friend in Calgary, but it's maybe because of licensing and through the agency, because he's represented by the group out of, I can't remember, Jerry Johansson's company out of Edmonton. Maybe the Pats aren't allowed to sell anything with his likeness on it. It's not like it used to be. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean. And probably not necessarily that they're not allowed to, but not interested in paying the licensing fee that would go along to still being able to use the name and number on the jerseys, even if it's part of your history. If it's made, celebrate it. But I'm sure there's a licensing fee to continue to cash in off the name and number, and that would be a big fee.
And by the way, could you blame him? I mean, I've said this. Ted in Red Deer writes, and he goes, only Mark Twain and Winston Churchill, Rod? Comparing myself to. Add Ernest Hemingway to the list. I will be the legendarily quoted person long after I'm gone. Somebody else will be profiting off my genius. I said junior hockey is the same as college sports. It is. Supposedly amateur. Right? Name, image, likeness. If anybody should have an NIL deal, it was Connor Bedard. For the love of God. He was selling more tickets in the Saddle Dome than the Flames as our road team. So it was a wonderful question here by the guy from Yorkton. But I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'll bet you that they can't sell anything with Bedard's name on it anymore. And that's the other thing about teams creating demand. You know, this is a small one, but the other day I was saying, you know, the zany things I get asked to do. It's insane. But a lady wrote me and said, can you, I can't seem to find that baby blue Panthers jersey that they sold. You know, those reverse retros last year with the beautiful yellow palm tree, baby blue jersey with the red shoulders. She says, would you mind going and buying one in the store and shipping me to Canada, and I will get you the money? That's what she said. And to be honest, I was like, I could actually do that compared to some of the other things, but they don't sell them anymore. They're sold out. They're a one and done. And to be honest, had I known, I'd have bought one for myself last year. They don't make them anymore. Allie in Texarkana writes in, she says, I love Hemingway. He's great. Wayne in BC says, sorry, Rod, I know you don't want to talk politics. Don't worry, no need to apologize because we're not talking politics. Not going to get into it. John, I don't even know what the hell he's talking about, and I don't care. John Ohm says, one of the best things about the RP show is they give us fans a voice. Thanks again for this and much more, Rod. Well, we certainly try. We certainly try. Oh, it's getting a little crazy here in the comments. You want to play? Oh, okay, just another. Colin in Ottawa. Thank you for sticking with us, Colin. He says, wow, free agents finally commit to Winnipeg last offseason, and the Jets fans can't get $15,000 a game? Hellebuck, Lowry, and Morrissey could have all walked, but chose to stay. Come on, Winnipeg, support your team. Now, it's not about that, bro. I mean, I'm not in Winnipeg, but I grew up next door to Winnipeg. I get it. They can't afford to go to the damn games. End of story. When it comes between putting a tank of gas in your car or feeding your family or going to a hockey game, I'm going to support the guy that's trying to feed his family. End of story. They don't have the population. And 10 years ago, or 2010, I guess, when the Gents went back there, Darren, it wasn't this expensive. The NHL has outpriced Winnipeg. And it sucks. And this is where we're at. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. You know, we've gone through a pandemic too that we didn't see coming. We've gone through these other things. the inflation rises, cost of living rising, and the incomes have not, risen in the same way or at the same rate. And that's tough. And you hope it continues to get better. I think it will get better, but it's a matter of, can the Jets hang on long enough until it gets better? And can they find a creative way to get more butts in the seats and raise the revenue?
What indication is there that wages are going to go up and ticket prices are going to go down? Because if you're seeing something, I'm not seeing it.
No, I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. But yeah.
It's a trend. It's the way things are going. Stacy, by the way, watching at Access World Headquarters, writes in and says, those Blue Panthers jerseys were pretty slick. Oh, make my heart pound. Kelly writes it just before we play Bet Regal Breakaway Bets. Kelly from Regina writes, and he says, Rod Kelly here. So $40 plus for a Pats game. Maybe the owner's friends would pay for advertising or donating instead of expecting us diehard fans to pay $40 a ticket. Again, if you don't like it, don't go. Or bitch and pay the money. It's entirely up to you. But I'm over it. There are only 3 NHL games tonight, Darren, so it'll be a quick deal or no deal Bet Regal Breakaway Bets. I didn't add up last night's tallies. Did you? I didn't.
I think we were both about 5 and 6, right around that 500 mark.
We came out on the losing end of that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Buffalo at the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. Who do you got to win straight up?
I'll take Buffalo.
I'll take the Jackets back home. The Winnipeg Jets at Chicago. Let's give them something to cheer about. Winnipeg and Chicago. I'll take the Jets to win. How about you?
Me too. Got to take the Jets tonight.
Yeah? Okay. And the Minnesota Wild at the Edmonton Oilers. Who do you like to win that one?
Give me the Oilers to rebound after losing to Boston.
Well, you and I are the same on that. We just differ on the Sabres Jackets. Just 3 games tonight. Folks, sign up at betregal.ca. Join their club for free and play for fun. We call it sport betting. Moose, we are out of time with you. Thank you for your contributions. Have a great weekend.
You bet. Have a great weekend.
Jock Wilson joins us next. Get your Calgary questions in. We'll be right back on this Football Friday on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss. But it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody, just want to mention, if you haven't heard by now, playoff field is set at the Scotties. Alberta's Selena Sturmey facing six-time champion Jennifer Jones of Manitoba today, while defending champion Carrie Anderson takes on undefeated Rachel Holman of Ontario this afternoon. Manitoba's Caitlin Laws and Kate Cameron round out the rest of the six playoff teams. They are sold out, but the Brier isn't, but it's getting close. The Montana's Brier. You can get your tickets at curling.ca/tickets. Single draw tickets are available now. All youth tickets just $9.99. The RP show will be there broadcasting live. Please, let's bring in Jock Wilson now. And Jocko, there's a lot of things to get to with you, but I don't know if you saw the Jets ownership saying this isn't going to work long-term, our attendance situation. Do you think we'll ever hear that in Calgary? Do you hear it in Calgary?
No, don't hear that at all in Calgary, because obviously Calgary's a pretty wealthy city. Calgary's, probably 1.5 million with the surrounding area now, Rod. And hey, the bottom line is they're going to get a new arena in 2.5 years. Murray Edwards is one of the richest dudes in the province and in the country, so I don't think there's too many issues here.
Have they broken ground on the arena, by the way, yet?
They have not. They have not. They're supposed to do it this spring, and if that happens, they are hoping about 2.5 years, kind of like what the Oilers did for their building. So that's the game plan. So like I've always said, put shovels in the ground. Once that happens, I'll get excited. So there's been roadblocks as we've seen in the past, but no, I think it's pretty well a done deal now.
I want to ask our audience, by the way, we have a lot of Stamps supporters that write in. So if you have questions for Jock, get them in now. And we'll, actually, they are coming here. They're coming. I'll get to the, you said last year the Stamps would have a down year. And they kind of did, but they did go on and make the playoffs and go on the road to BC. What are you seeing this year, Jock?
We're number 9, baby. You saw the way too early CFL power rankings earlier this week. We're number 9. Hey, bottom line is, I get it. There's not a lot of love for the Calgary Stampeders right now. They were only a 6-win team last season. And, even though this team has the amazing streak of making the playoffs year after year, this is also an organization that has not won a playoff game in 6 years. So is this the team, of 2016, 2017, 2018? No, obviously when the Calgary Stampeders were the model franchise, everybody wanted to be the Calgary Stampeders. Right now, the Calgary Stampeders are playing catch up. And you go back to last year, Rod, did I think they would have a step back? Yes. Did I think they would be a 6-win team? No. I thought they would be a little bit better than that. But nobody foresaw the injuries that were going to happen with this football club. They got decimated. It killed their budget. It really, really beat the crap out of them. So I think when you look at this season, have they made some slight improvements? Devon Tate coming out of Toronto on that offensive line. I'm still not sold that Josh Coker is going to be, okay on the left tackle spot. But you've taken care of one tackle with Tate. And losing Sevier, I think was a little bit of a hit, but they think Bryce Bell is going to step up. Getting obviously your center re-signed and Sean McEwen. That was really important. So, hey, I think they brought in some pressure for Jake Mayer. Not a bad thing, because last year they did not have confidence going to Tommy Stevens. As a quarterback who can come in and run an offense. Especially with his arm. So I think bringing in Matt Schultz is a good move for this football club, but we'll see because as well as I do, I think the West is going to be very intriguing this year. I think Winnipeg takes a little bit of a step back. Obviously, BC probably is about the same. Maybe they take a touch of a step back too. Losing Matthew Betts to the NFL was a big blow for them. Saskatchewan, they've got to be better. I just think they have to be better. The Edmonton Elks, God forbid, they've got to be better as well. And the Calgary Stampeders are going to have to be better. So who doesn't make the playoffs in the CFL this year? Who doesn't make the playoffs in the West? Your bet is as good as mine. It might be the Stampeders. I don't know.
We might have to just throw the names up in the air and whoever lands. That would be as good a guess as what you and I have right now. I see the news today that Craig Dickinson will be joining the Stampeders as a consultant this season to his brother Dave, and that makes me feel good. Frankly, I'd like to see Dickie take a year off, but he's joining the Stamps. That's all kinds of good.
Yeah, I was talking to Dave a couple of, I guess it was before the CFL winter meetings, and I was asking him about Craig. And he basically said, well, Craig doesn't have a gig right now. He's just sort of sitting back, in Montana, just wondering what his future is going to be. And then when you see that news come today, hey, they're brothers. And family is always important to Dave Dickinson. So is anybody surprised that he joins the Stampeders organization? I don't think so. I don't think so. You couldn't bring him in as the special teams coordinator because Mark Killam has been so good here. So I think, bring him as a consultant. Hey, they've got a lot of consultants in the kitchen now because Huffnagel's a consultant, Dickinson's a consultant. But hey, all in the family. I don't think anybody in the league is going to have an issue with that move.
Not at all. Consulting's the way to go. So Ted in Red Deer writes in and says, hey, Jock, the Winnipeg Jets say that season tickets falling below 14,000 is not sustainable. Jay McNeil announced the Stampeders are less than 14,000. How much trouble are the Stamps in if this doesn't improve?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the only thing I will say is what truly is the focus for Murray Edwards? We talked about Murray Edwards. He's a rich dude, and I mentioned that earlier. And he's got lots of money. Is he using the Stampeders as a tax write-off? I don't know. Hey, nobody likes to lose money, so that is a concern. And the stadium is a concern. And I know Jay McNeil, as the new president, is trying his damnedest just to get more people and more bums in the seats. And how he does that, with McMahon Stadium, wow. I don't know. You got to blow up parts of that stadium. They want to try to create more social areas. They would love to have like a pill zone like they have in Saskatchewan. They would love to have that. But, structurally, I'm not sure how this building is going to work out. So, hey, 20,000 would be perfect. 14,000 is not good. We will see how their game day sales are because, if weather is bad, it kills their game day sales. And if weather is good, they should be okay. So we'll see. But it is a concern. There's no question.
Well, I would say that you can't compare, respectfully, the Winnipeg Jets season tickets to a CFL team season tickets. What's the payroll for the Jets? $85 million, and the CFL's is $6.5 million. So it's not even in the same ballpark. Flames. Word association. Where are you in the Flames?
Well, hey, look, they're playing meaningful games at the end of February, which is not a bad thing. They're still a team that, is locked in the mushy middle. If they're a team, if they don't have Jacob Markstrom, they're not a very good team. So I think if they, and it's a fair question because everybody is talking about the unrestricted free agents, Noah Hannafin, Oliver Shillington, and of course, Chris Tanev. And here's the deal for the Calgary Flames. My sources are telling me that Craig Conroy has not pulled the trigger on a trade yet because deep down, he would still like to re-sign Noah Hannafin. So he's got a couple of weeks, to maybe sweeten the pot or just really see where Noah Hannafin is. You make a Noah Hannafin trade, you're not going to make your team better. You may get some futures, but he's a 27-year-old defenseman in his prime. Now, he tells people around him that he likes the city, but how truthful is he with that? We saw that with Johnny Gaudreau. Love the city, love the city. Oh, I want to go back to the States because I'm an American-born player. Is Noah Hannafin saying the same thing? Is he saying, love the city, love the city, love the city? Oh, I want to go back to the States. And I think that is why we haven't seen the Noah Hannafin trade happen yet, because I do believe the Calgary Flames really would like to re-sign the player. But in 2 weeks, if that deal is not on the table and Noah Hannafin is not going to sign on the dotted line, then obviously you will see that player move. Chris Tanev, I think he will get moved for sure. When is that going to happen? And I'll say this right now, Rod, if they trade Jacob Markstrom, they're the stupidest people on the planet.
I don't like the idea of it either. I don't know why they're talking about it, but I guess we'll see. Jock, you give the best updates. I appreciate you. Enjoy the weekend, man, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
You betcha. Anytime, Rod.
QR Calgary's Jock Wilson and host of Stampeders Radio. We'll be right back with Overtime after this. We're live on Game Plus Television, which across all of Alberta, it's on TELUS Channel 924 and Shaw Rogers Channel 230, BC as well. WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hi, everybody. The studio is in suddenly windy South Florida. What's the telemiracle total? Oh, boy. Can we get 550 people, please, to buy a ticket before 4 p.m. Central today, please, at telemiracle5050.com. I don't ask you to do much. This is for the Saskatchewan people, and I feel like today I could say Winnipeg's favorite daytime sports talk show because we got all of Winnipeg writing in on the show, and I appreciate that. But again, telemiracle5050.com. You just got to be in Saskatchewan to do it, and 18 years of age or over. We'll be selling 50-50 tickets until tonight. This is way more than I'm quite confident the Telemiracle Committee thought that they were going to get. So thank you. And for those that don't, Clark, can you throw it up again, the link to donate to our show donation page? Again, I don't ask you to do a lot. And if you don't donate to our page, that'll tell me a lot about you. So on the Chad Kelly thing, again, we haven't heard the last of it. We're just hearing the start of it. But an Argo's former female assistant coach, strength and conditioning coach, suing the team for wrongful dismissal, saying it happened because she resisted the sexual advances of their quarterback, Chad Kelly. Brad in Winnipeg writes in, complete devil's advocate here, simply saying, is it really wrongful dismissal if her contract expired? I don't think so. Yeah, prove that's why they didn't renew her contract, right? That'll be up to the Argos. Yeah, it's all sad is really what it is. Regarding the comments by the owner of the Jets, Mark Chipman saying they can't sustain this economic model of attendance long term. David number 1 in Winnipeg writes in, he says, if Chipman does sell off the Jets, he will find a lot of people will boycott his car dealerships. I know he won't really be crying about this as he will be comforted by the hundreds of millions of dollars he'll get from the backs of Winnipeggers who bought into his altruistic BS he has fed us. I'm just reading what he said. That's unfortunate if that's the road this goes down. He's just saying buy tickets or we won't be here long term, which is what I said months ago, and people flamed me. It's okay, because I knew this day would come. Laverne and Swift Current, I appreciate you. He writes in and says, Bedard is represented by Newport Management. Thanks for what you do. Thank you, Laverne. So that is the Donnie Meehan. I apologize. Why did I think he was with Jerry Johansson? Was he ever with Jerry Johansson? You need to understand that the hockey people, particularly the junior hockey people, really get into that. I apologize for having it wrong. We're $10 away from... Ring those phones. Click that link. Is that going to be the new Telemiracle cry? Click that link. Click that link. $10 is all we need to hit 200,000, and it can happen while we're on the air. I had a dream that if you bought a 50-50 ticket, somebody watching right now won it from the Rod Pedersen Show. I had a dream. Michael in Maple Ridge, BC. We did it. We did it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
How about that?
I wish I had one of those confetti guns. Michael in Maple Ridge, BC writes in and he says, hi, guys. This Winnipeg situation may be more psychological than economics. I think people who still live there, I was born there, have that once bitten, twice shy. Know what I mean? The Jets left in 95. Once bitten? But what are you saying, Michael J? That's because they're so triggered? I know that. I've got a diploma in human behavior. I know why they're getting upset. That's not news. That's not going to keep the team there. Just because they're mad that they're hearing from the ownership that if you don't fill the rink, we're going to be gone. They don't like to hear it, but it's still the truth. I mean, I get what you're saying, so it's very easy for me to figure out why they're getting so upset. Doesn't change the situation. Maybe, if anything, this is softening the blow or making them realize the team is not going to be there long term, which I said, and people got mad. Boo-hoo. Already 1 minute. The Oilers will look to return to the win column tonight when they host the Minnesota Wild. The Jets visit the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Blue Jackets welcome the Buffalo Sabres. Toronto has its sights set on winning setting its winning streak to 5 games when hosting New York tonight in the Professional Women's Hockey League, and the Raptors are at Atlanta. Sports Update is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas, Anyone But You. It's in theaters now. It's starring Alexandra Shipp and Glenn Powell. Don't miss all new bonus content. And when we talk hockey, it's for Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Well, the weekend is here. Enjoy it, everybody. Be safe. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Oh, God willing, noon Eastern, Game Plus TV and Key Radio.
Who has more fun than us?